Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to episode 15 of the Cozy Cardigans podcast. My name is Melanie, also known as Cozy Cardigans on Instagram and on Ravelry. I'm also the owner and dyer for Big Little Yarn Co. It's an indie dyed yarn shop. All that info is in the info box down below. You could find, for the yarn shop stuff, you can find me on Instagram as Big Little Yarn Co. or on my website at biglittleyarn.com. So, how are you? It's been a couple weeks. I do have a lot of work in progress updates. I have one FO. Been really busy. I have had a pre-order. I shipped them out today. The pre-order was like a couple weeks ago. I finished dyeing them and I shipped them out today. And then I currently have a wholesale order dyeing schedule situation, so I am busy doing that. And I've also been announcing my new Halloween colorway. So right now I have a Halloween collection that I'm slowly releasing out to you guys. Releasing as in showing you the colorways. The shop update is going to be on September 26th at 11 a.m. PDT, and these colorways will be limited edition. If you haven't seen like what the collection's all about, maybe I could like put the photo of the collection stuff here, but so I'm doing a collection based off of my favorite Halloween / autumnal movies, and so I chose 5. It's very difficult to choose 5, but I chose 5 of my favorites, and then I based variegated colorways off of them. And so as of now, I've released Beetlejuice and Coraline, and then you guys will have to wait for the 3, and then the next 3 and then there will also be 3 tonals that will be released, and those will be more so not limited edition. They'll be available in the shop too. So just a little shop news there. So let's see, where should I start? Well, first I guess I'll start with what I'm wearing. I've showed this to you. I think I finished this. Did I show this to you guys last episode? I'm not sure, but so I finished this a while back. Haven't had a chance to wear it on video, so I thought I'd wear it this episode. Although I'm wearing a sweater, it is definitely not cold here in Las Vegas. It is still in the hundreds, but the AC is on, so I thought it would be okay, and I'm not overheating or anything, so it's fine. But so this is the Tsunagu Pullover by Ririko from Handmade Life. She's Handmade Life on Instagram, and this pattern has yet to be released. I believe it's coming out mid-October, I want to say, and so still have a little bit of time left, but this was a test knit for her. I love it. I love the yoke pattern. It is so, I think it'd be a really cool like spider webby Halloween kind of sweater too if you were really into that, like in black and white. But I made mine with Lagoon as the main colorway. So these are both my Big Little Yarn Co. yarns. So this is Lagoon, this green, and then this brown maroon kind of color is Bramble. And I love it. I love the fit. I love the color work. It's super easy to memorize, or like very intuitive. It kind of just like grows with the yoke increases, and so it's really nice because one of the things when you work color work is you have to kind of go back and forth to look at the color work chart, and for this I kind of just knew what was coming up next because it's very geometrical, so that was nice. And then I love the little details on the cuff, and then also There's another colorwork section on right before the ribbing. It's just really quick modification summary. The only thing I kind of changed was obviously the length of the sleeves, and it's definitely not a cropped sweater. I think I only knit 3 inches after the underarm, and then I started this little colorwork bit, and then I did the ribbing. I prefer cropped sweaters just because I'm always wearing high-waisted pants, so as you can see, even though it's super cropped, it still kind of goes over my pants line here. So that's the only thing that I changed. Everything else is to the pattern because obviously I was a test knit, so I couldn't really change much. I wouldn't really change anything though. But yeah, super fun. Goes all the way behind. Very lovely pattern. Very simple, but very fun to knit. So I'm wearing that, and now I'm sweating because I keep getting up and down. But, so I finished this a while ago. Still not cold enough to wear it, but as long as I stay inside, it's okay. I know it's getting colder where some of you are, and I'm very, very jealous. Whenever I'm on Instagram and you are wearing sweaters outside, I'm like, I want to be there so bad. But well, anyway, so this was a finished object from a long time ago, so it doesn't really count. I have one finished object that I actually finished between now and the last episode, and it is this little Shawlette. Very cute, very soft. So this is the Squishy Shawlette by Bronte Swansick. She's Bronte Swansick on Instagram, and we have been, I call her a friend. I'm pretty sure she would call me a friend too, but we've been talking for quite a long time on Instagram. She's over in London, so I've never met her in real life, but she's a very good knitter friend to me. And when I saw that she put out this new pattern, I went for it immediately because I had some Lagoon left over, and I also had some California Coast left over from my Mermaid Avenue socks from a while back. Maybe I could post a picture here. But so I had this like random amount of yarn left over, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And I've already made socks from the Mermaid the Mermaid Avenue socks use California Coast. I didn't want to make another pair of socks from the same colorway again, so I was just kind of like looking for a shawl pattern that could use both colorways, and I couldn't really find anything. And so when I saw her pattern, I immediately knew this was what I was looking for. So I didn't know how big of a shawl I could make with it. So, and I wasn't really looking for anything kind of like ginormous, like, you know, like a Find Your Fade kind of large blanket shawl type of thing. I just wanted something smaller because when during the winter I have this like big, not big, but very oversized gray winter coat that I love to wear for like everything, and it goes with anything. But since it's so oversized, if I wear a large blanket shawl, it kind of just envelops me into this ball of like fabric. So I wanted something that I could put around my neck that wouldn't really envelop me because I had this like oversized coat, and I also wanted something that I could just throw on if I was getting chilly. And so anyways, I saw her Shawlette pattern. It has a small size and a large size, but both sizes are relatively on the smaller scale compared. It's definitely not like a blanket shawl type of thing. So anyways, it is a one color shawl, but since I had 2 colors, I was thinking I could make a 2-color version. So that is what I made. So this side is Lagoon, as you can see. And the reason why there's this variegation is because, okay, and then this is California Coast, by the way. And then, so the reason why there's this variegation is because I held a skein of California Coast in the kid silk lace for both sides, because I did, even though I did want the two colored type of thing, I wanted it to be a little bit more cohesive and like not uniform, but more like homogeneous, I want to say. Is that the word? But so anyways, that's what I did. And I think it looks great because it still kind of looks like, if you look very like far away, it looks like it's kind of like one, you're using one type of yarn almost, and then you kind of look closer and you're like, oh wait, there's two. So I love how this turned out. It's exactly what I had in mind. The size is perfect, so as you can see, I could hold it up relatively easily. So it's quite small. But it is a shawlette, so that is that. Yeah, that's the only modification I did. So in the right side, I would knit the California Coast first, and then this center stitch here. So there's like a increase, and then there's a center stitch that you kind of put, well, how do I explain this? So increases, there's a center stitch, and then increases, and then lagoon. So for that center stitch, when I was on the right side, I would knit the center stitch using California Coast, and then when I was on the wrong side, I would knit the center stitch using lagoon, and that's what holds the two sides together. Because if you just knit one color with one side and then just knit the same one color on the other side, you'd have two separate shawls. So something has to hold them together, and that's that center line, the center line that you see right over here. So in her original pattern, the center line is obviously much more straight, like just a straight knit stitch, but since mine is holding two separate sides together, it kind of zigzags a little, which I don't mind and I kind of like. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's perfect. It is the perfect size. It's just like the little kerchief size. So if you put it around your neck with the triangle point in the front, it's kind of like this size. I kind of like it. Put the triangle point in the back, and then I just usually just tie a knot in the front, call it a day. And then I have like a coat over, keeps my neck warm. So yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for. I have no need of it right now, but I was itching to make a shawl, and this is perfect. And it's super soft from the kid silk lace. Yeah, I love it. I think this pattern is really great for if you have random scraps in your stash that's like more than a sock amount, a little less than a shawl amount. The shawlette is a great option. And also Bronte's shawl is a great option because there is a small size and a large size. This is the small size. And then the only difference between the small and the large size is the amount of ribbing you put at the end. So even if you're not too sure about the yardage that you have, you can always just do less or more ribbing depending on how much yarn you have in the end. So you start at the garter tab right here in the center, and then it grows outwards. So super easy. This took me like 2-ish days. So super quick, easy knit. I love it. Yep. So grab the pattern if you want, but super easy, super fun, great use of scraps. So that is my one and only FO. So I have a ton of works in progress to show you. Not a ton, but quite a few, more than my usual amount. Before this whole pandemic thing, I was really good with having only maybe 2 max work in progresses. So I would usually have like one sock or hat project, just a small thing to like so I could carry it around when I go out, and then one larger sweater project or something, so when I'm at home I could just work on that. But now that I'm at home all the time, I cast on, and because I started my yarn shop, I cast on all the things all the time because I'm surrounded by yarn that I love, and I talk to people who make amazing patterns, and I just can't help I have no self-control when it comes to knitting. So I have quite a few things to show you. Let's see, what should I start with? I guess I'll start with this test knit. So this is something that I've showed you last week, so I guess I'll start with that. This is the Emery Shawl test knit for Shapiro Knits. So I think the last time I talked to you, I was just starting this lichen bit. So this is a 3-colored shawl, and it is just a garter stitch shawl, so super easy and mindless. And then it has these, and then in the color change sections there's these eyelet rows, and then also these baubles here. So really cute. I love how the colors are going together. So I finished the rust quite a while back. When I showed you, I think I was like right around here, and then now I'm almost done with this middle lichen part. I think I am actually done with the increases. I think I just need to do the eyelet and bauble row, and then I could switch to, this is going to be my 3rd color in Lagoon. I don't know, I didn't think I would love Lagoon this much, but it's like the perfect green for me. So Lagoon is going to be the 3rd color. It's a 3-colored shawl. This is going, I kind of had to give myself a schedule for this one because it is due later this month, and I'm kind of, not that it's not boring. It is still fun to knit for me personally. I love just mindless garter stitch knitting, but the thing is that I just have a lot of stuff to do, and shawls like this take a really long time, so I had to make a schedule for myself. So if I do 7 increases, or the amount of rows that it takes to do 7 increases a day, I'll be able to finish in no time. So that is the schedule that I gave to myself. But anyways, yeah, so it's going. I love how lichen is knitting up in garter. It is so pretty. I totally want a sweater in lichen now. See, no self-control. So this is rust, this is lichen, almost there. And then once I do the eyelet row, the next baubles will be in rust, and I'm really excited for that. So I'm almost done. I'm like 2/3-ish of the way done, I guess. It's just that for these, this shawl construction, I forget how long each row takes when you get to these bigger and longer rows. So I think I'm at like 159 stitches right now, and to me it feels like it's taking forever, because when you start over here it's like, you know, only like 5-10 stitches per row, and then it's still easy, and then once you start getting to the 159 point, you're like slogging through the rows. So, and it only increases from here till you get to the end. So not that it's boring, it just takes quite a while to get through the rows, and it's very slow going, I guess. That's the only thing, but that's not the fault of the pattern or anything. That's just me complaining. So anyways, really excited for the baubles though. So that's going. That's nothing special about this one. The only thing is that I think the pattern calls for sport or DK weight. I'm using my fingering weight in the Peruvian wool, just because I just enjoy knitting in fingering weight the most, and that's what I had. So she does have instructions in her pattern how to knit or the amount of stitches required for the next size up, so that if you do, like me, knit with smaller yarn, you can always follow her instructions, or if you wanted a larger size, you could follow those instructions as well. So yeah, this is a test knit still, so pattern's not out yet. I believe it's coming out mid-October as well, but I'll definitely be posting about it when she releases it. So yep. So Emery Shawl by Shapiro Knits. I hope did I say that in the beginning? Oh yeah, but it's the Emery Shawl by Shapiro Knits. She's Shapiro Knits on Instagram. So that is that. So I've been slowly chipping away at that. Another test knit, I guess. I'll go with test knits first. So I had 2 inches of it like knit up, and then I realized that, so maybe I could find the Instagram story and put it up here, but so these are the little black socks by Summerly Knits. She's Summerly Knits on Instagram, and I guess I don't really technically have anything to show you because I frogged it yesterday, because I totally forgot that I was gonna be supposed to show you guys my what I've had so far, and then I was just tired of it. Not tired of it. Okay, so story is I was knitting it. I was knitting it. It was fine. It's really fun pattern. Knit 2 inches of it, and then I was looking at it and I realized that, so there's these 2 braids that kind of go on the sides of the feet, or the sides of the ankle, I should say. And so they're obviously supposed to be symmetrical, like to each other. So one on the right, one on the left, and there's supposed to be an even amount of stitches in between those 2 braids or 2 cables. And so I was looking at it and I was like, why are these cables closer to each other on one side of the sock and farther away from the other side? And so I counted the stitches and I realized that I put the cables in not symmetrically. Like, I don't know how I counted it. I cast it on the correct amount. I don't know. I didn't realize, and so I was just kind of like, not over it, but like I was mad at myself, and so I just ripped it all out yesterday, and then I was like, I forgot to show you guys. So anyways, I was supposed to show you that. So I got these, what is this, 9 inch high sharps. These are my first little baby sock needles. So these are these size ones. I wanted to try them out because when I was first knitting these, my usual method is the magic loop 2 at a time method. But the cables were really bothering me because like they're right before where the wires kind of join, and it was kind of very difficult to carry stitches over and things like that. So anyways, they're kind of annoying when I was using the magic loop method. So I was thinking, and I also wanted to do color work socks as well, and I heard that using these guys help out a lot for those. So I was like, no, might as well just get them, just test them out. So I got them and then I tested them, but I usually knit using the English style. So I flick English style, so I use my right hand to hold the yarn. But when I did that using these needles, it was very, very difficult on my fingers and my wrist. My hands cramped up super fast. Like, I've never had that happen before, and it's probably because when you flick, or for me when I flick, I usually have to be able to hold the needle as I, put the yarn around the needle, and then I make a stitch and I put the round. So not being able to hold the needles properly because these needles are so small, I think it really cramped up my fingers. So I did some research and then I looked it up, and I heard that Continental style knitters tend to like these little guys a bit more because they hold the needles, but they just kind of use their fingers to move the yarn in order to you do the knit stitch and the purl stitch. So a while back, maybe 2015-ish, I taught myself how to do Continental. The only problem is that I never figured out how to purl, and these socks require purling, obviously, because there's ribbing, there's cables. So I was like, maybe this is the time to figure out how to purl using the Continental style. So I did more research. I tried to figure out how to do it. At first, I was holding the yarn like how I was when I first learned Continental. And my problem personally when I purled was that I would try to bring the yarn forward to purl, but not my tension, but like how I held the yarn was too loose, and I couldn't like push the yarn down and around. If you're a Continental knitter, you kind of know what I'm talking about, but for those of you who aren't familiar with that method, when you purl, so you have your yarn hanging on your left forefinger, and then you bring it down, and then you pull it around your right needle, and then you purl. So it's a little finicky in that sense for purling for Continental, but I think it is a lot quicker when you do ribbing because your yarn automatically goes back into the knitting position when you finish purling. So in the long run it is quicker, but it is a little difficult to purl. But anyways, so how I was holding the yarn before, I was kind of too loose about it, and I couldn't bring the yarn down. It would kind of just slip off my finger all the time. I could not figure it out, so I was just looking at all these different videos of how people held their yarn, and there's so many ways to hold yarn. Like obviously everybody holds their yarn a little bit differently, and I finally found a tutorial where she kind of let me see if I could show you. So she would twist the yarn around her pinky, bring it around the top, and then twist the yarn back into her forefingers. So it's like 4 twists kind of. So that gives you a lot more tension, I guess, because it takes a lot more tugging to get it through all those little different loops that you made in your fingers. So I tried that, and that worked. So I was doing that for a little while, and then I kind of got used to holding my yarn on my left hand. And so after that, what I was doing before I frogged it was I was holding it kind of like in between every finger. So I would take this, put it over my ring finger, under middle, over forefinger, and then that was how I would tension it. And that has worked out for me so far. I have nothing to show for it, but that is my new little Continental thing. And it's been working so far, and I'm kind of excited about it. I'm definitely a lot slower. I'm a very fast, well, I think I'm a pretty fast flicker when it comes to English style, so it is a little disheartening to see how slow I am on my left hand, but I think if I kind of keep at it and just keep going for another 7 more years on the other hand, I'll definitely surpass how fast I am on my right for sure, just because of the yarn position, and obviously it's a lot quicker and easier to do stockinette stitch, and so I'm just keeping that in mind. So I think from now on I'm trying my best to knit everything Continental style. I'm just putting it out there, but I'm not making any promises because it is hard to remember just because I automatically just pick up yarn on my right hand. But so when I cast back on, I will cast back on Continental, and I do really like the small needles. It's super easy to just carry around. There's no like large long magic loop needle like hanging around in your back. So I do really like the portability of that little needle size. So I do like that. So I think I'm gonna keep at it. I'll cast on again later today. hopefully I will count my stitches right this time, and I can show you all next time what they actually look like. So yeah, speaking of Continental, so for the Emery Shawl, I'm still knitting this, my usual style, by the way, just because I know my gauge changes pretty dramatically when I change hands, and I didn't want to, and it's just like a garter stitch style, so it's probably really noticeable if I happen to switch to different styles in the middle of a shawl, and I didn't really want that. So for that guy, I'm sticking with how I was knitting for the whole time. What else? Okay, sorry. That was a really long ramble. So next work in progress. So this is literally looks like nothing either, but so you might have seen this mustard yarn before, and this was originally going to be the Willa Cardigan by this person. So I showed you guys like the color work plan that I had and everything, and I was really like I thought about this really hard, and I was just not feeling, not that I wasn't feeling the pattern, I still really love the pattern, but I wasn't feeling the color combination as much anymore, and I really wanted a mustard cardigan. So I just wanted a simple, not simple, but like not simple classic mustard cardigan, and I knew that the color work in the Willa Cardigan just needed to be its own thing. Like I wanted it to be something with the where the colors, I wasn't like just only using the scraps that I had kind of thing. Like I wanted it to be more curated in a way. So anyways, I've only knitted about an inch of it anyway, so I was like, you know, I'm just gonna put it to the side. I'm not feeling it as much as I was when I first cast on, and sometimes you feel like that when you're feeling pumped about a project and then the hype just kind of dies down, and then you look at it and then you're like, am I really gonna be wearing this forever? Like especially for a color work cardigan like the Willa Cardigan, I'm gonna put so much work into that. Well, I want to be able to make something that I'm gonna be wearing forever, and I knew that if I was to make a mustard yellow cardigan, I would prefer it to be all mustard versus like a color work. So that's what I ended up deciding. So I set the Willa Cardigan aside. I haven't frogged it yet. It's just kind of sitting in its own bag, but I am planning on buying some more colors so that I could make a Willa Cardigan that I am pumped about, because I still am super pumped about the pattern. I just wasn't super pumped about the mustard being the main color, and I thought that the mustard could go really well by itself. So anyway, so here is what I'm doing with the mustard. So this little cuff is going to be the Willa Cardigan by Soiree Nordland, and here's her Instagram handle. I'm not quite sure what it is right now, but so it's this, maybe I could put a picture of what it's supposed to look like. It is a beautifully cabled cardigan, and I have seen some of my Instagram friends make it, and I am always super jealous, and I go back to their Instagram pictures to kind of be jealous about it. And so when I kind of decided that the mustard could be used for another cardigan, I knew I wanted something cabled, like solid colored, classic, and that is the Willa Cardigan. So nothing to show for, just little ribbing. I am attempting to knit this. It'll be my first cabled cardigan Continental style. So I've made plenty of cabled cardigans before, just not with my left hand. So we'll see how that goes. As of now, the ribbing is going great. It's really nice to be able to practice ribbing with my left hand, and this is knit through the back loop, so it's a little bit more challenging for me because I'm not used to it here on my left hand. But yeah, it's nothing much, but I'm super excited about this. I think this is a much better option for me when it comes to this mustard colored yarn. I feel much more at ease about this decision, and I'm not as like torn about it as I was with the Merino cardigan, because I wanted to do the Merino cardigan justice, but I knew that in the end I kind of wanted other colors. So anyways, decided on that. So this little baby bit, and then another little baby bit that I could show you. So you might know, oh my goodness, the yarn just kind of exploded everywhere. It's yarn puke everywhere. But so you might know that Yume, Yume is one of the most popular colorways that I have in the shop. I released it the last pre-order, so for those of you who ordered it, thank you. There was a lot of you who loved it as much as I did, and I knew that when I saw it in my new 100% Superwash Merino base, I knew that it was meant to be a soiree sweater. So I immediately cast it on, and so right now I only have about an inch of it. So I am using, excuse the yarn puke and the ugly yarn balls, but this is Yume in my 100% Merino fingering weight base, and I'm holding it together with Yume in the Kid Silk Lace base, and it is so dreamy, and I love how soft the colors are together. And so I am alternating skeins so that there isn't any color pulling. Yume is very variegated, or like not very variegated, very different between each skein because of the way I dye it. So like you could tell, this is both Yume, but as you can see, this one's a little more pinker, this one's a little more yellow. So it's better to alternate skeins. So that's what I'm doing. And okay, there's so many skeins. It's very difficult though because I am holding two different skeins together and altering at the same time. There's 4 balls connected to the sweater. It's definitely when you're at home and you kind of are sitting in one place type of project. But yeah, so I have about an inch so far, and oh my gosh, look how beautiful it's knitting up. I love the colors on Yume. And so this is another little texture bit. I love how the cables are looking, and it is so soft, and it is gonna be a perfect cotton candy sweater. So yeah, this is looking amazing. I love the little rolled hem. Yeah, it's really fun to knit. I am knitting this Continental again, and it has been helping a lot with the stockinette bits. But yeah, look at that. It's so pretty. Yume is like this really soft rainbow, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So I'm knitting this as well. This has been such a fun knit. I just love seeing the colors that pop up. So yep, so this is a Soiree by, oh, I forgot her name. Oh, is it Viola Emily? She's another indie dyer, but it's from her ebook Knits About Winter, and her entire ebook is just, I want to knit everything in that thing. So yep, this is definitely not going to be my last of her designs. I love everything about it, and it is so soft and perfect. Super excited to show you more. there's that. And then I have one last thing. So I think this episode is really long, sorry, but one last thing, one last WIP. It is this. I caved, and guys, I started knitting a Pinguano. I started it, but I'm not that far into it. So this is the Pinguano by Stephen Knits, and you probably have seen it before. It is a super popular stash buster-y, crazy color cardigan pattern, and I am using my scraps. So I have a ton of these random scraps that I didn't know what to use for, and I've been saving it for a big project, and I weighed the scraps and I realized I had enough for a Pinguano finally, so I cast it on. And so this is the back of my Pinguano. It's a bunch of scraps that I've had since I started knitting, pretty much. I'm using a lot of old hand-dyed scraps from back when I first started hand-dyeing yarn. I'm using old hand-spun yarn, so like this like greenish color is like hand-spun. I'm also using, so another work in progress update, the Dathan pullover that I was knitting out of my Find Your Fade shawl got canceled. Yeah, so the reason why I did that was because, so you know, if you saw my previous podcast episodes, you know that I've been putting knots in the back of them because I didn't know how to knot. But so when I changed, because there's a lot of color changes, a lot of striping goes into the Dathan pullover. So when I was changing colors, I would just kind of knot it and call it a day. And then somebody in the comments showed me the Weave and Steven method for weaving in scraps as you go, not scraps, weaving in ends as you go. And oh my gosh, I wish I knew that before, because after I watched that, I couldn't continue with the knots being in there. And so I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna use these scraps as part of the Pinguano and then knit a Dathan pullover with other scraps, hopefully with my Big Little Yarn Co. scraps or something, because I couldn't deal with the knots. So that is going in here. So that's some of the purple yarn that you see. Yeah, it's a super fun, like, chill, creative knit. I haven't done a scrap busting project in a long time. I usually kind of tend to use my scraps for like color work or socks or whatever, so I haven't really done one where I held like three different scrap yarns together to make something, so this is new for me. But yeah, I'm kind of color planning, kind of not. So anyways, I'm gonna put this down to show you guys what I mean. So I put out my scrap yarn and I categorize them into different like color families, I guess you could say. So right here I have the green and blue color family, and then I got some neutrals in there too, which is what I'm knitting out of right now. And then I also have this neutrals and reds and like oranges color family. And then I have the grays and purple color family. So I split them up into these three, and then when I am figuring out the next sections to do, I usually just pick a color family, choose 3 different strands or 3 different yarns, and then just knit with those. And so for example, this whole back I chose, I decided to use the purple and gray color family yarns just because that was the heaviest in weight, And so I knew that I had the most of that. So, and I knew that I wanted the back to kind of be more cohesive for this back panel here. So I decided on that, and then I obviously changed colors every now and then from the same bag. So same color family, but different strands of yarn, so that the whole back would have been like a purple theme. And then I also knew that for the side panels, for these side stripies, I wanted to use the greens and the blues. And so to kind of transition into that, so there's these welts that connect the back panel with these side panels, and then there's obviously going to be some more paneling up in here once I finish with this part. But I wanted the welts to kind of transition between the purple to the green. Not seamlessly, but it just kind of made sense for me like that in my head. So for the welts, I used, for the first welt, I used all of my yarns from the purple color family bag. So it's mostly purple. And then for the middle one, I chose one purple family strand, one green family strand, and, two purple family, one green family. So it's kind of like this nice mix of greens and purples here in the middle. And then I chose 3 green family strands. And so that's kind of how I've been thinking through this. The Pinguano is pretty overwhelming if you're not really used to working with so much color, and if you're like me and you kind of like to think things through. I wish I was the type of person who would just like choose random colors and just go with it, like how Stephen West does it. But for me, it has to kind of make sense in my mind, and that's how I've been processing what color goes with what for these like sections. And so what I'm planning to do is, you know, as I go through these sections, I am planning to have it symmetrical in a way where, you know, the welt explanation I just did, I'm probably obviously going to do the same thing here, but obviously with different purple colors, different green colors. But having these little bags of color families really help out with choosing what I need and what I want. So yeah, hopefully I have more to show you next time. But this has been really fun. I never knit with such bulky yarn. I'm always knitting with fingering weight is my favorite. So this is a new, and it's been really quick, but also it's a really big cardigan, so not really that quick, but really fun to make. Yeah, so I think that's the last work in progress. Haven't been spinning since the last time I talked to you. I have been reading. I have one book to show you. So I've been in a huge reading slump. I haven't read since I haven't finished a book since maybe June or May, a while back. So I finally picked up a new book. I'm slowly going through it, reading like a chapter maybe like every other day-ish, I guess. So it's been slow, but it's a good book. So I just wanted to show you guys what I've been up to in my reading life. So this is called A Keeper of Lost Things, and it's a really sweet literary fiction, very gentle, kind of sad, but not too sad. More sad in like a celebration of life type of way versus like a funeral type of way, you know what I mean? So yeah, just reading this through. I'm still like not even halfway yet, but so far it's been really good. I do have a Goodreads. I could put the link down below if you want to be friends on Goodreads. Haven't read anything in a while though, but if you want to see what I have read so far this year, that's all in there. So yeah, this is something I've been reading, and yeah, I think that's it. I think this episode's long. I'm not sure how long I've been talking, but my throat is dry, so yeah. hope you're doing well. I hope that you have been staying healthy and staying safe. There's been fires in near my hometown, and I'm just kind of glad that everyone's safe there. But if you are near the fires, I hope you're okay. Stay inside. Don't breathe too much of the bad air. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Please let me know if you've been knitting anything fun. Let me know how you knit. How do you knit? I think that's like a huge topic. So many people has messaged me about like tips on how to knit Continental. If you have any tips on how to knit Continental, please let me know. As a new Continental knitter, I would love to know these things. And if you don't knit Continental, how do you knit? What's your favorite type of knitting? Do you knit magic loop? Do you knit with tiny needles? Do you knit with DPNs? Let me know. I just really like to know how people knit, honestly. I think it's so fun because there's so many ways of how people knit and how people are comfortable with knitting. And it's just so interesting to see how different we can all be. But projects that we all make are all so beautiful and so fun to see. Yeah, I could talk about knitting all the time, so please just put a comment down below. Let me know how you like to knit, why you like to knit that way, whatever. So yeah, thank you for hanging out with me. This was a long hangout sesh, but I really enjoyed it. If you want to continue hanging out with me, you can follow me on Instagram, again, Cozy Cardigans or Big Little Yarn Co. You can message me there. I love talking to you all. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe below, wherever it is, down below. Yeah, that's it. Hope you're doing well. I'll see you next week.